Hello, so something I noticed is that I never really talked too much about Ornn Artifacts in a tier list style fashion. So what I want to do is I want to rank the Ornn Artifacts similar to how I did my item tier list yesterday. If you like my content, I normally do guides. I'm not a huge on tier lists. I don't think they're super great in terms of like being a good resource. However, a lot of people like them and like to hear my opinion presented in the way of a tier list, so that's why I'm going through this again. So yesterday we talked about item slams because items are going to be changing. Ornn Artifacts are also going to be changing. There's going to be a couple new ones in the next update that's coming on Wednesday. So I thought as a last hurrah, in line with the previous video of yesterday, to kind of talk about Ornn Artifacts in a similar fashion. And there's a lot of people that enjoy them. If you're one of the people that enjoys them, make sure to like and subscribe. If you're looking forward to future guides, like and subscribe because they're going to be coming back next week for sure. But anyways, I changed a little bit the way that the tier list is. Similar to yesterday, I'm not talking about them in terms of S to D tier. I think every item has a spot whenever you can play that particular unit or particular situations where it works well with those units. Ornn Artifacts are a lot more particular than items, so it's a little bit more hard forcing in a lot of cases. But, of course, every Ornn Artifact can have a really good holder, and you can get a really good placement with it, and it can be broken. It's just getting the right combination of it. So instead, I'm just saying, like, how likely am I to take it, or how excited I am to see these options, coming from my perspective, where I usually try and play a little bit more flexibly. So that's the mindset. Let's get straight into it. Let's look at Death's Defiance. So Death's Defiance, for example, this is an item that is quite flexible, but it's usually tied to a sort of melee carry. In the current landscape of the game, there's not really melee carries that I think are super crazy. There are a lot of 5 costs that can use Death's Defiance really well, but it's not a good idea for me. Like if I start and I take an Ornn Artifact, I'm not really fishing for Death's Defiance a lot of the time. However, there are some reroll lines that do work really well with Death's Defiance, so it is a pretty flexible option. So it's somewhere between good and meh, I can play something. So I'm going to put in meh, I can play something, because I don't think it's like an instant click by any means, but it does work as an Omnivamp item that can give a second lease at life, but a lot of times it's a little bit awkward. A lot of times, like, units that want that second lease of life, you want a survivability item, so it doesn't work that well, because Bloodthirster gives you the health shield, and Edge of Night and stuff can give you, like, a second life, so it's a little bit awkward, but it's something that I look at, and I'm like, okay, I have options here if I'm forced to take this, right? There's some reroll lines, there's some high cap lines, maybe a little bit awkward in the middle there, but it's okay. Silvermere Dawn. However, like if I'm ranking it, now Silvermere Dawn is really strong, right? Silvermere Dawn can be an instant click if you have a spot for reroll Rengar or if you have a spot for reroll Nefury. But if you don't have a good reroll spot, you don't really want to put this on any 4 costs. Like I don't think it's particularly great on Zed. Maybe I'm wrong, but like it just doesn't seem that great to me. So a lot of the times, like when I'm looking at Silvermere Dawn, I actually avoid it quite a bit. Even though it basically gives a lot of stats to give you stun immunity, but it locks your attack speed. So it's really only good on melee style carries. But if you think about like some of the other units, it's like, it's just really awkward to make use of, is what I would say. It's like, and a lot of it is because it's not good on Zed. So I'm in the avoiding tier for Silvermere Dawn. Unless I have a spot for a reroll line that I'm playing, I don't really want to click it, because I think to myself, this is going to actively be bad for my units if I don't have the setup for it, and if I'm chasing the setup for it, I also don't think it has a win condition. Like, I don't think I have, unless it's like Rengar reroll where he uses the crit really well, there's very few lines where I think to myself, this is an instant win if I click this, so it's worth forcing and ensuing that risk, if that makes sense. Also, I know that I say if that makes sense a lot. I always have like weird nomenclatures. I know somebody said it jokingly in the comments, but you know, if you say it jokingly, that's fine. If you actually don't like the way I speak though, I had that in the past a lot, I'll just ban your ass. But anyways, that's separate. But the guy in the comments, you're a homie, because like it's fun to poke jest at the way I speak sometimes. I enjoy poking jest at it as well, but you know, just don't, like, you know, I've had people insulting me and calling me slurs because of it. Anyways, let's talk about what's it called? Unending Despair. Unending Despair, I don't think gives good tank stats. It's a pretty good frontline item, and basically it works as like another damage item. It's basically like if you have a shield and it breaks, you do that as magic damage. You do like a bunch of magic damage. So it's really good on units that shield a lot. Mordekaiser, name me another shield unit. Braum, I think sometimes on Nico. But it's not like that good, and a lot of times I'd rather have a tank item on those units unless they're 3-starred and I want them to just like rail and do a bunch of damage. It does have some high cap potential, but I'm usually avoiding this item. A lot of times it's hard to make use of in your mid game until late game. It's only if you're like, you know, let's say I'm playing Braum and I'm playing Braum reroll, and I see it, it's like, yes, I take it. But if that's not the case that I'm in, if I'm not in a spot like that, I'm not clicking it. That's part of the reason why I'm like, I don't like this. Tricksters Glass. Tricksters Glass is actually really interesting. Me personally, I like it a lot. I would actually put it in good tier. Trickster's Glass to me is really good at tempoing, because it gives you a lot of ability early game to kind of tempo a little bit, which is really nice. It's actually really comforting to me. So, but that's like a me thing, right? I understand that it's probably not the best item in the game, so I'm not going to put it in highest tier. I'm probably going to drop it down, because I think it's not, like, I'm trying to remember. It's like, it's good on some units. It's good on units if you have like strong vertical traits as well, because you can make great use of it, but I don't think it's a strong Ornn artifact. I think it's like understated, and the duplicate copy is like, it's good early game, it's bad mid game, and then it's really good late game. So it's like there's this whole part in the middle of the game where it kind of does like almost nothing, because it takes up a damage item on like one of your main units, and then the duplicate unit is usually shit. But until you get to like late game where you're trying to itemize like an extra 5 cost, then it's really good, because then you just get 2 copies of a really strong unit. You know, Trickster's Glass Zac, you just get like 4 bloblets jumping around everywhere. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna put it in meh. I can play something. Right? I explain why I think it's good, but I understand that it doesn't have the highest win potential and doesn't have the highest cap. So when I take it, a lot of times it's because I know that I want to just play tempo. It's like, okay, I don't have a win condition. I'm just going to play tempo. If I make it to level 9, then I can like maybe do something cool. But until then, I'm just playing with an extra unit on my board, and hopefully that's going to help me streak on stage 2. That's like a meh, I can play something tier. Zhonya's. Now, Zhonya's is really interesting. I think Zhonya's is good tier. Zhonya's is super flexible. You can put on melee units, even though it gives AP. It's mostly an AP item, but it basically works kind of like an Edge of Night. They just kind of like become intangible, but for a little bit longer, I believe. It's actually really good on backline units as well. Prevents them from getting sniped. Gives them a second lease at life as well. And it can also work as an AP carry item, because it gives you a good chunk of AP as well. Additionally, you could put on melee units. You don't get like the most meaningful stats unless they're like a melee frontline, like kind of like a Viego or something, where they're melee AP. But the melee units, it works pretty much like an Edge of Night. So it actually can take up one of those spots, but it also gives stats. Like, Edge of Night doesn't really give that many stats anyways. So Zhonya's is actually better in a lot of cases than Edge of Night. So it's actually like a straight up upgrade. So that gives you a lot of opportunities, right? I'm talking like, you know, there obviously is going to be specific units that are going to be broken with it, but you actually have a wide variety of units to use it on. So I'm pretty happy to see it, because I can even use it to cap with like an Aurora or something, or late game anything else. Really great. This item, Deathfire Grasp, I'm gonna put it in meh. I can play something. It's like a shittier, it's like the thing that you take if you don't see Zhonya's but you want to play a flexible AP line or an artifact edition. You know what I mean? It's like, it's pretty good. It has like this health chunking effect, and then it gives you damage amp. But the problem is, it's like a lot of times it just doesn't synergize well with good items. It's like if you have to choose between a Deathfire Grasp and a Guard Breaker, I feel like you usually just want to put a Guard Breaker on your main carry. So a lot of times it becomes like a secondary item. There's some units that you think it would be good on, but then it's just not, because their items are too specific. Like, think Vex, for example. I talked about it with my Ornn Artifact guide. It's like, as a third item on Vex, it's like passable, but depending on the patch, it's actually pretty bad, because you're better off just making a Guard Breaker in a lot of the cases, because you just get you just get more value off of it, because it pairs up more nicely with the crit chance, right? Like, it feels like that with a lot of the units. I think it's really good if you can itemize 2 carries and put on a secondary carry, because even if your secondary carry doesn't have the best items, they're just gonna chunk very early on, like chunk, like kind of like tank bust with it. So that's why I put in the meh. I can play something. Now, of course, you could just use it as an AP flex item and just play like any AP line and put Deathfire Grasp on them. But it just doesn't feel like it has like a crazy synergy with a win con. So I'm just putting the meh tier. Trenchcoat, I think it's in the same meh. I can play something. Trenchcoat's really good on certain units. Obviously, splitting a unit, there's lots of crazy interactions you can have, especially if you have units that have resetting effects, like if they're holding a Sterix or an Edge of Night, or like the traditional Trenchcoat Zhonya's, where the 3 copies can then activate like each individual like item again, which is cool. There's some units that are pretty good with it, like I think Nefury, other units that can also work pretty well with it, like other melee style units. It's just that, like, It's just hard because you don't want to use it as a tank item, so you really have to be playing towards melee. But it's just such a cool interaction that I think that I'm more inclined to use it, because there's lots of like crazy, like Trenchcoat is like the basis for finding some broken shit. That's how it's always been, right? Every time there's Trenchcoat, there's always some interaction that is broken by just having 3 copies of something with another item, like I was saying before, or another Ornn artifact. It's like the crux. It's like the staple of, I'm gonna make some broken shit that I'm just gonna win for free with. So that's why it gets bumped up, right? Normally I would avoid it because a lot of times it doesn't make sense for a lot of comps, but it gets bumped up just for its potential to like cap so high. Just getting 3 copies of something, even like, you know, same synergies with like 5 costs, is just really powerful. Blinding Jewel. Ooh, this one's tough. So Blinding Jewel is one of those ones that has like a win con, right? I'm gonna put it, do I put it in good tier? I want to put it in good tier. If you see Blinding Jewel, a lot of times you can just play Fiddlesticks, but if you don't have a spot for Fiddlesticks, you're in a bad spot. You can also play it on Morgana, but like Morgana isn't that great. But basically Blinding Jewel reduces magic resist, and then it generates mana if they're at 0 magic resist. So it's really good with units that do dot damage or damage over time. So if there's a unit that's like, I do damage, and it's like, you know, repeated small ticks of AP damage, then Blinding Jewel works really well. But the units that are like that, it's like Fiddlesticks, like Morgana, maybe there's a couple others, but like not really. Like it's usually just a Fiddlesticks check. So for that reason, I'm gonna put in meh tier, right? The thing is, it's like even on Fiddlesticks, I feel like it's really good, but it's not game breaking. I don't think it's win condition worthy. It makes the Fiddlesticks comps a hell of a lot better. Trust me, it does make it good. I agree, it is cool, but it's not like, you know, it's not crazy, so to speak. This one, Horizon Focus, I'm putting in avoiding tier. Okay, hear me out. Horizon Focus is really good if you get it late game, and it's absolute dog shit if you get it early game. Early game, there are so many units that don't really stun that it makes it really hard to play around it, because early game, you're not spending your gold rolling. Unless you're committing to a reroll line, you're not doing anything. Now, there's no crazy Horizon Focus unit besides like Zac, which is a late game unit. So like a lot of times if you take Horizon Focus, you don't want to commit to playing some late game unit. Even like on a Sejuani, it's not even that good because you need the tank items or else she's gonna die. So like it's like okay. And that's the problem that it happens, because a lot of times the best stun units are the frontline units, and the backline units that stun, they don't really like it that much, and it gives mostly tank stats, so it's just kind of a weird thing right now. It's hard to say, but that's what I mean. Like when I'm looking at the item, it's like if I see it late game and I have the unit that's broken and I just click the item and I put it on the broken unit, it makes sense. But it's similar to like some of the other items. It's like it does like close to nothing unless you have a setup for it, and it's very hard to have the setup for it in my opinion. Like there are some units early game that can stun, like Alistar and maybe some others, but it's just like, man, this just sucks to play around early game. So I'm gonna put in avoiding tier. I usually avoid it. Light Shield Crest. This is in that meh, I could play something tier. It's a little bit better now with Bastions, but Bastions aren't super relevant besides at 1 or 2 lines. But basically, this works really well if you have a lot of armor and MR, and then you just get a shield on everybody. So there's some boards that work really well, typically reroll boards. So there's stuff that you can play with it, but I don't think it's that crazy. Anima Visage. So this was one I almost always took. Anima Visage is so flexible. It doesn't matter what board you're playing, you can probably put it on a frontline unit and get some value out of it. It's like the true flex Ornn artifact. So out of all the items, I think I take Anima Visage the most. It is like my most taken item. Because the problem with the Ornn artifacts is that a lot of times you open it up and they're just shit. And you're just like, these items are shit. What do I do now? Do I have to pivot? Do I have to hard force something? What do I do? And you see Anima Visage, and it's just like this nice little guy in the corner. He's like, hello, put me on your unit and you'll be okay. And it's like, thank you, Anima Visage. Thank you for being there. But jokes aside, it's mostly like, I love the flexible tank item. I love having an item that's pretty flexible that can go on pretty much any major tank, and it's pretty good. Now, does it have a win condition? No. So, like, maybe you could put it in good tier. I'll put it in good tier. Maybe I'll move it up after. I think it's very similar to Zanya's. Talisman of Ascension. This is oh no tier. So, imagine an item that does nothing. That's Talisman of Ascension. So Talisman of Ascension is really good in like one particular scenario. It's usually good if a unit can live forever. So you want to play towards a line that has like a full vertical front line, either 6 Bruiser or in some fringe cases 6 Vanguard or 6 what's it called, Bastion or something like that. The problem with Talisman of Ascension is that the item, it gives you like a little bit of HP. Yes, it gives you some stats. Yes, I understand that. I'm not forgetting the fact that it gives you stats. But holy shit, does it do absolutely nothing besides that. Because it does, you need it to cash out. If you do not make it to 22 seconds, which is a long time, the fight is over before this item even does anything. Now, if you have the setup for it, right? Like, let's say you're playing Bruiser Fiddlesticks, and you're like, oh, I'm going to rip an Ornn Artifact because there's multiple options for Fiddlesticks, and you see Talisman of Ascension. It's like, yes, you can put it on Cho'Gath. Yes, he will 1v9. Yes, you will win the game. You know what else will happen? You will lose if you don't last 22 seconds. It is very, very risky. And that's like one line that I'm talking about. Think about all the other lines. There's so many of them that this just does absolutely nothing with. I'm talking about like it literally doesn't proc its effect until a certain amount of time. That's just a really bad thing to play towards in a lot of cases. Now, of course, like I said, you could have a win condition for it. I understand that. All of these Ornn Artifacts, even Silvermere and this item is like broken. You know, if you take this item and you put it on Zac, this Horizon Focus, and you put it on Zac, you will win the game for free. I saw a Zac with Horizon Focus beat a 3-star Sejuani. Just fucking deleted the unit off the face of the earth. It's actually crazy. It's broken. But am I taking it off the rip at the start of the game? Hell no. Anyways, Manazane, taking instantly. Manazane gives you so much mana gen. It is so much mana. It works on AP units. It works on some AD units. It's actually great. You have so much flexibility with it. You actually don't even have to worry about anything. Honestly, I'm going to move up Zhonya's as well. I think Zhonya's in that same tier. Anima Visage maybe a tier lower than those two. I'm happy with that because Anima Visage is like, you know, you need to have a lot of HP. I like this tier. Manazane, I'm almost always clicking. If I see Manazane, I have to have a setup for the other item in order for me not to take Manazane. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, I look at Manazane, I look at my other artifacts, and if I don't have, like, you know, a copy of a reroll unit that likes the Ornn Artifact, I'm taking Manazane. Easy enough. Enough said. Hull Crusher, I think Hull Crusher is good. It's really flexible, gives a lot of stats. I think it can work really well on multiple units. Just Street Demons, beware. I know, like, some people like to take it and play, like, Rengar, maybe. Because I think one person, I forget what it was. Maybe it was, like, a TikTok or something. But somebody was talking about how it's good on Rengar one time. Because it's, like, a better Titans. And then, like, you take it and you play Rengar. Then you can't Street Demon Hex him. And it's just, like, you just lost. And everything that you gained, you just lost. But, like, besides that, you can put on pretty much any tank. It gives good HP. You just have to isolate your unit, which is okay. That's not the biggest downside. So it gives HP and armor and some of the other stats. I actually like it. Lichbane, I almost never take Lichbane. Is this good on anybody? Like, this item, like, who is it good on? Like, actually. Like, I feel like this item is so dog. It's so, like, nothing. Like, maybe, like, one of those, like, crazy boards with, like, an Archangel or something. This is the one where I think, like, it does spillover damage or whatever. But, like, or no, it doesn't. It does, like, the extra whatever. Am I thinking of the right one? Let me think for a second. Let me check. What does Lichbane do? Items. Sorry, guys. We gotta look at this one. Where's Lichbane? It's gotta be one of the worst ones. Okay, Luden's Tempest is the one that does the overkill damage. And then Lichbane is, oh, it's the next attack does AP, right? That's what Lichbane is. Let's double check. Lichbane is next attack does extra AP. Yeah. Next attack does extra damage. Okay. Maybe it's not in the, I don't know. I never clicked this shit. I actually hate these ones. The problem with Lichbane is it takes the spot of another damage item, and its effect isn't even that great. It's like after casting, you do an extra 500 damage. You know how else you can do 500 damage? With a better damage item. Like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my. And it's like, it works really well on chain casters. Like, I can imagine Lichbane being good on, like, Yuumi. For example, Yuumi just chain cast, or Annie, right? They just cast, like, infinite. Because, like, Yuumi has the amp effect where she gets extra mana. She's just popping off, right? Those units, it's really good because you're getting a lot of extra damage for value there. Because they're trying to chain cast. And a lot of times they have multiple revenues and mana gen. But other than that, I'm not even clicking. I don't even think it's a win condition on those units. Wit's End, good on auto attackers. It kind of works kind of like a Gunblade, gives some survivability. It could work well on melee frontline users that love attack speed. So in certain builds, it's okay there. I'm putting in avoiding tier. I think that, like, you know, unless I have a spot where I really want to use it, I usually just avoid it. But there are a lot of Guinsoo users in the current set, so it actually can work out pretty well. Intervating Locket. I put in the man can play something. Even if you're not playing one of the Giga crazy comps, basically you recover percentage maximum health. You generate mana, and then when you cast, you recover health. So it works really well on like drain tanks. Like Cho'Gath with Intervating Locket is like giga broken. Like that's really good because you can see the synergy, right? You cast, you get more HP, you recover more. You cast, you recover more. You cast, you recover more. You cast, you recover more, and then he never fucking dies, right? So obviously it's in that tier. It's not like broken. I'm not clicking it instantly, but I'm pretty happy to click it. Because it's just like a tank item. It's similar to like Light Shield Crest. If I'm playing particular styles of units that have great use case for it, then I make a lot better use of the item. But I'm also happy to just put on any tank and just make use of it and be happy. Mittens. I think this is in the meta. I could play something. Mittens is like okay. It gives a bunch of attack speed, so it can work well on attack speed units. But typically, you're putting on frontline units to get the advantage of the extra movement speed as well, because it helps them to, like, you know, save up, or sorry, not save up. It helps them to, like, quickly go towards different units and gain that gain their HP through Omnivamp without having much downtime. Triforce, similar in mana can play something. Just gives a lot of stats. That's enough said. Prowler's Claw. Prowler's Claw is interesting. Prowler's Claw is interesting because I'm not sure where I should put it. Because I might want to avoid it. This Prowler's Claw item is fucking shit though. Like, actually, excuse my language. I'm pretty sure Prowler's Claw is dog. Like, it's actually just bad. You know what we should do at the end of this tier list? We should look at the ranking of the items and see what the average placement is, just for fun. Like, I don't want it to affect my placement to say, like, I'm placing it based on ranking. But, like, I'm pretty sure this item is shit. Okay, the reason that it's really bad is that it's super unflexible. Because you can't put on a backline unit. Because it makes the unit jump to a new unit, it has to be on a melee carry. And some of the melee carries don't like Prowler's Claw. So it just feels like a sunk cost. It just, like, actually, like, feels bad. Like, you see this, and you're like, great, I need to be playing melee. It's not like some of the other items, like Death's Defiance at least has flexibility. This one is not flexible. It's like a worse version of, like, those melee items. I put in the same tier as Silvermere then. Fishbones. In the meta can play something. Backline AD units. Also, like, what's it called? The other, you can also put on, like, some units that like to have range. It gives +1 range, so it actually works really well. There's some, like, weird synergies as well. You can put on Vex, for example, just because her sniping and the crit chance makes it like she one-shots backline units randomly. It's alright. Seekers, I'm gonna put in avoiding tier. I think it's, like, really good on Varus. Right? I think Varus is the only one that I saw that was, like, crazy good with it, or, like, absurd, like, awkwardly good with it, like, considering it basically gives you, like, armor and AP, and it, like, scales for the amount of takedowns that you do, so it can have, like, good potential to pop off, like, if you put on a Viego. But right now Viego is pretty shit, so, like, in saying I'm gonna take this Ornn Artifact to play around a 5 cost, not a good idea, because, like, that's just way too much RNG. So, you know, besides Viego, who do I want to put it on? It's, like, not many units. Because the thing is, it scales up so slow with the takedown effects that you need to kill units, that it's, like, it's really hard to actually make use of it. Like, you can often get steamrolled if you try and use it as, like, a damage item on an AP carry. So it has to be a little bit more particular. But in the case of seeing it, I'm not, like, actively avoiding it a lot of the time. Also, what are the stats Lichbane gives? Maybe I misranked Lichbane. Does it give anything good? 30 attack speed, 30 ability power. We'll put this in avoiding. Okay, then maybe I'll appease everybody. Gold Collector. Gold Collector is an econ generation tool. I actually like it in good tier, just because it's good on some units. It gives an execute, but it also gives you the gold generation, so it's actually pretty useful. It helps you to hit your board a lot more easily. RFC, man can play something. It gives range, that's usually why it's played, but it also gives a bunch of attack speed. Luden's Tempest, avoiding, similar as to some of the other APMs. I think it's just shit. This one's the one with the overkill, so you actually have to be overkilling, so it's even like more annoying because you're losing a damage item to try and overkill with it. It's just really awkward. Sniper's Focus. I think I'm usually just taking Sniper's Focus, honestly. I think it gives +1 range. There's multiple carries where it's win condition with. It's extremely strong, and then even if you're not playing those carries, it's still good on a lot of other units that can get the +1 range and just get a bunch of damage amp. Blacksmith's Gloves is no longer in the game. Spectral Cutlass. This one actually goes in good tier. Okay, so let me explain. This one's very particular, okay? Spectral Cutlass is so fucking broken on Nefury that you can actually force Nefury with it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? There are other units that can also use it, which is fine. It is so broken with Nefury that it gets bumped from man can play something. If you see Spectral Cutlass and nobody's playing Nefury, you can probably play Nefury and you could probably make it to like level 9 off of Nefury 2. Like actually, like it's actually that good. Like maybe I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure if I look in the stats, Nefury with Spectral Cutlass, it's like -1 or some crazy number like that. It's actually broken. Like it's actually Exodia. So because of that, it goes a tier higher. Makes sense? Like I think it's so much better than some of the other ones that we're talking about. Like I would rather play Nefury with Spectral than fiddle with Blinding Jewel. Because Blinding Jewel is gonna be hard to. You know what? Maybe we can move a Blinding Jewel. I don't know. I stand by my decisions. Gambler's Blade. I'm gonna put it in the same as good. I just like the econ generation ones. That's a little bit of bias. You can move these both down one if you want, right? But I'm gonna put them here because I think there are lots of users that can use the Gambler's Blade to effectively hit your board. There's a lot of Gwinsu holders that like double Gwinsu in the current meta, which is why it's pretty good. Mogul's Mail. It's not like, oh no, or I'm gonna put in avoiding tier. Yeah, I like avoiding tier. It's just not good stats. It got nerfed and it was never the same. Okay, let's do a little check. Okay, so we did our tier list. I'm pretty happy with it. This is pretty much how it goes, right? All of these ones I take sometimes if I have a spot for it. These ones are the ones I'm taking more often, with the exception of Spectral Cutlass just being extremely broken. These are the ones I take the most. If I ever see any of these, I have to convince myself not to take it. And these are the ones I take the least frequent. This is true to how I play. So I agree with what I put up here. If you don't agree with it, that's fine. If you think that taking Lichbane every game is amazing, or if you think taking Talisman of Ascension every game is amazing, go for it. What I was saying stands true. If you're just watching the tier list now, I don't want to hear some crazy shit afterwards, but I'm going to make it very clear. All of these Ornn Artifacts, because they have such unique effects, can be broken in the right setup. You can win with Talisman of Ascension, and I put it in oh no tier. And I am not saying you are not valid or incorrect for doing so. What I am saying is you need to have a spot for it. And I do not like the spot that I put myself in, taking Talisman of Ascension and forcing myself to have a strong front line and blah blah blah. Like, you know what I mean? When I'm playing the Ornn Artifacts, especially if I hit them early game, there's a lot of them that I see that I'm more excited or happy to play around because I feel like I have better prospects for the end of the game or later in the game, as opposed to playing in a very thin, narrow margin, and then if I don't hit the exact things to go the right way, it comes crashing down, and then I wish I had taken the other Ornn Artifacts that I ranked higher on the tier list. That's all I'm trying to say. But anyways, I'm curious to see. I actually want to see the average placement. It's been a while since I looked at it. So let's see. Let's rank them by placement. Yeah, look. This is what I was saying. Spectral Cutlass, this shit's fucking broken. Look, all of the artifacts average slightly above 4 when they're put, and this is like with the intention of putting them on the good units, right? If you put this on Nefury, it actually pops off. This is what I was trying to say. Like, this is why, look at this. It's a, okay, so Delta is like the Delta, and then like, is like Delta, and then like relative Delta is like factoring in like the unit and whatever, right? So it's like actually if it's like good. Like, this is what I was saying. Like, it's actually fucking broken. It's so fucking strong. Anyways, Anima Visage, yeah, I like it a lot. Snipers, yes, I like it a lot. These ones are really flexible and they have a lot of options. Blinding Jewel is a little bit higher than I thought, so maybe I misranked it. Maybe it should be, but it's not Spectral Cutlass tier, so I put it down. Unending is also really high. I wonder who, I know I did the Ornn Artifact guy, but I'm curious on how crazy it is. Is it just because of like these Vi numbers is probably because there's some cash out, right? There's some, it might be inflated by, what's it called? It's inflated by, Cypher cash out, I think there's a Cypher cash out that gives it. Manazane, Tricksters, I really like Tricksters. This is like the old reliable. Ludens is pretty high, but I think this is a Cypher cash out as well. Light Shield is a lot higher than I thought. Yeah, and then the rest kind of falls into its mid. Yeah, and then Seekers is pretty bad. And then Talisman, yeah, this is what I was saying. See? What did I say? What did I say? Hey, you know, I got a lot of the stuff in the middle wrong. Like I said, Rapid Fire was okay. I got a lot of stuff in the middle wrong. But damn, did I nail the top one and the bottom one in terms of the ones that I take the least and the one I take the most. But stats don't matter, by the way, right? Obviously, if you have this, you can win the game with it. You can win the game with this. You can win the game with all of these. You know what I mean? Don't forget. I also made an Ornn Artifact guide if you want to see what units are good at holding what items. That's also on my channel. But anyways, thank you for watching. Hopefully that was enjoyable. You know, I'm not going to do another tier list tomorrow, I hope. But I'm going to be doing some other stuff. Tomorrow, I might actually just post a random video of me at convention. Because I might not have time to upload a video. And I might just show off my art tomorrow on this channel. So if it's a little bit different than the normal video, just know it's because I ran out of time doing my daily upload. I'm going to be out most of the day. Anyways, thank you for watching. Have a great day and see ya. Bye-bye.